Hello, I'm David Chaston with 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This week at Everything You Need to Know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock, with news equity investors are rushing back into markets. On Wall Street, stocks are up sharply today, up more than 1% in some indexes. Some warn that this rally is a last hurrah before the consequences of the trade wars start to bite. Today's rises follow strong gains yesterday in Hong Kong and Tokyo, where they're up more than 1.5%, and especially Shanghai, where they're up more than 2.5%. The NZX was one of the few equity markets that isn't feeling the enthusiasm. It fell yesterday, down 0.3%. In other news, in India, a weak monsoon season there is having a sharp effect on rice and other plantings. El Niño may be the cause. In any case, lower agricultural output can have a major impact on India. In China, despite being banned internationally in 2010, a growing number of factories are using CFCs as an insulation foam enabler. That has meant that the ozone hole, which had been shrinking, is now not, and is at risk of expanding again. In Mexico, their inflation rate, which had been falling sharply from 6.8% in December, has now stopped falling and turned up marginally. In June, it was running at 4.7%. In Japan, a fuel consumption testing scandal at Nissan is rocking the company and its reputation. It is a scandal very reminiscent of the German Dieselgate scandal that started at VW. In England, there is growing turmoil in public policy circles over how to progress Brexit. And in Australia, new data shows the growing travails of their housing market. They may be selling about 50% of houses that come to auction. In New Zealand, it's about a 35% success rate. But it is now taking 64 days on average to sell any house in Sydney, a big rise in a year. In Melbourne, it takes 48 days. The New Zealand equivalent is 38 days and just 29 in Wellington. The US Treasury 10-year yield is back up strongly today at 2.86%. That's a 4 basis point rise overnight. And the US 210 rate curve has risen marginally. That means that more than 3/4 of US Treasury issues are now trading below par. The losses have been substantial and they're growing. It is a very big market. The Chinese 10-year is at 3.55%, that's up 1 basis point, while the New Zealand equivalent is at 2.85%, also up 1 basis point. And gold is up $4 at $1,259 an ounce. The US oil prices are up today as well, now over $74 a barrel, and the Brent benchmark is now over $78 a barrel. The Kiwi dollar starts today unchanged at 68.4 cents. On the cross rates are a bit lower, and lower by half a cent at 91.6 Aussie cents, and we're at 58.2 euro cents. That leaves the TWI at 71.5. I'm David Chaston. That was 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz.